And we're back. Doom Nation, what is up? We're here again in the captain's quarters as always, and it's the two Doom men, Skaggs and myself, the captain, and we got a very special, sexy friend over here, our buddy Anthony. He is a longtime friend of ours. He was on the show
almost a year ago.
Yeah.
It was, I think, March 20th of last year. I think.
Yeah.
I was just listening to it the other day.
Something like that.
Yeah, and that was before we were doing even YouTube videos. So welcome to the next part. We've grown a bit since then. Say what up, Anthony, to everybody.
What up, everybody? It's good to be back.
We are all in green today. It is St. Patrick's Day. Boys, crack them if you got them.
Yes.
Beautiful noise.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's
You have
Day.
a little Irish in you, right?
Nope.
No?
Not at all. Not at all.
Damn.
I mean,
Just a redheaded Italian.
Yep.
So what did we do for St. Patrick's Day? We packed the show with another Italian.
Italian, there you go. You can never have too many.
So anyway, as we start, as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, we still have the PS5 raffle going on, so check that out on our YouTube page and also our Instagram page. And big shout out to 990 WBOB. We're excited to be working with you guys. The first round of commercials went out, right?
Yes.
The 60-second political updates. We'll be doing those every week, so we'll have some new ones out there next week. And we are zeroing in on when we are going to actually have a live show, so that is awesome. So why don't you tell them everything else we'll be doing today?
We're going to talk about, we're just going to kind of shoot the shit, talk about, I have a couple topics and things that we spoke about last time, and we can kind of check in now a year later and see where things are at. I also wanted to talk about the shootings that occurred over the past couple days in Atlanta.
Yep.
This guy shot up a couple of massage parlors. So we should definitely have a conversation about that.
That's fine.
And we could also talk about, we did that political test thing.
Yeah. One thing that I want to add that I didn't bring you in on, Ant and I have an extensive conversation daily on conspiracies.
Oh, boy.
And we had that great video today that we have to post somewhere.
I posted it. It's on our Instagram, yeah.
So did you see the
this?
video, Ant?
No, which video?
So Joe Biden is, I guess, walking across the Rose Garden or the White House lawn, whatever, and there are reporters, and he's about to get on Marine One, the helicopter, I assume.
Yeah.
And he walks up, and you don't see any of the reporters, but like from the bottom left-hand corner, microphones pop up, and he's talking with his hands, and all of a sudden he phases through like
one
three
of the microphones.
Yeah.
If you want to look it up real quick, just to get an idea, it's on our Instagram. It's like the second video, maybe. I posted it this morning.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to make too much of it. I was the one who posted it because I was the one who saw it, but it does look very weird. And then I shared it with some of our friends, some of them who are way more like camera, savvy than we are. And they were like, dude, that looks fucking photoshopped or something.
Oh, with the microphones in the background?
Very, very, very weird.
Green screen. Yeah.
Looks very weird. Very weird.
And we've been talking since so Ann and I, we used to follow the whole Anon Q stuff, and then we kind of right around the same time, like, fell off right around inauguration,
Yeah, pretty much.
And we've been taking it with a grain of salt since then. But there's been some questionable things that we've come across and stumbled upon and shit. So it's interesting. So we'll get to that. So you want to start off where we left off last year?
Let's start off with how COVID impacted you guys at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because in our when we had the episode a year ago, the lockdown, like the restrictions were just started.
Right.
And I remember, and I was re-listening to it, you were saying how, your restaurant wasn't really set up for like delivery and things like that.
Right.
And that now you're kind of starting from day one, I remember you said.
Right.
To try and like survive. So a year later, what happened?
How you doing?
How'd it go?
We don't do deliveries right now. If anything, it's like Grubhub and whatever. But takeouts have definitely picked up over the years. Over the past year. We just had to build it up. Because, we did get takeout in the past, but, like, there wasn't a huge demand for it, as before. Because, like, also when I started this thing about last year when I was with you guys, that was, like, I think it was, like, a couple of days into the takeout-only aspect.
Yeah.
Like, you take a tablecloth Italian restaurant and you limit it to takeout only. It's just a
People don't even think of it. Yeah.
No, it's like you're starting a new type of business.
Right, that's actually exactly what you said back then. You were like, we're starting from day one almost.
Yeah, because, your restaurant is, it's it didn't have a pizzeria attached to it or anything, so there was no takeout aspect. You went there to sit down and have a nice Italian meal.
Exactly.
And they shut down that aspect of, the business. Like the main aspect of your business, they shut that down.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had to do like wedges. We made sandwiches because sandwiches are more affordable. We even did some specials. We dropped prices because like people don't want to pay like top dollar for a tablecloth at the restaurant if they're not going to sit down, get the service, get the drinks, they get that whole experience. So like we had to tweak things up a little bit. And even when we finally opened up again for dining in, I think it was 25%. No, first it was outdoor only. Then I think it was 25%, and it's been 50% since like July. We had to, we kept a lot of stuff. We introduced new dishes and whatever, but we dropped the prices significantly.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of places, I mean, rightfully so, I know where they're coming from. They had to compensate for lost business. A lot of them, they either raised their prices or they even did like COVID charges or anything like that. We didn't.
It's a rock and a hard place.
Exactly, but we felt like that was like a tacky thing to do. So we're like, let's just get people in, let them feel comfortable, and everybody was suffering.
Yeah. You said before
it wasn't
that
a time to be greedy.
You guys lost a ton of money this past year. At least you were able to survive, but
we were able to survive. Yeah, thank God. We own the property, so if you own a property, it's
a little bit different.
easier. You don't have to pay like a rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
Well, congratulations on making it through, and hopefully things start getting better. Any words on 100% capacity or anything like that?
They're talking about 75%. I think on March 19th.
Okay.
But the issue is like there's a 6 feet rule, so we already have 6 feet put in place. So like we really can't.
If you add any more, you start breaking that rule.
Exactly.
Well, I never thought of that.
Nobody has thought about that.
Maybe this week or last week, Fauci said, I don't know if something along the lines of 6. He's not sure if 6 feet's the number anymore. It might be 3 feet or whatnot. I don't know the exact details.
Flip flop Fauci.
But before masks didn't work.
Yeah.
Now 6 feet doesn't work.
He's the only.
I'm sorry. Now 6 feet's not necessary. Now you got to wear 2 masks. A lot of changes. I know as time goes on, they learn new things, but these are not revolutionary changes that they've seemingly have made.
It's funny that Biden wanted to get rid of everyone from the Trump administration, but kept one guy, Fauci.
Yeah.
For all the Italians out there listening, I call him Dr. Sfacim.
I never heard that before. That's pretty funny.
I invented it.
There we go. Good. So where are we going?
You want to go on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's
talk. You're gonna like this.
Or I mean, what did we predict last time Anthony was on that like we now have answers to or something like that?
Yeah, this is kind of it. We spoke a lot about the war in Afghanistan, and at the time,
sorry people,
sorry. At the time, Trump had made a peace deal with the Taliban, and like we weren't even aware of it. We like Googled it during the show, and then it turned out that Trump and the Taliban made a peace deal. The deal was for all American soldiers to leave by May 1st. Here we are, a year later. Mm-hmm. It don't look like we're leaving.
Well, no, we're going back over now because Biden's in office and he has to do the exact opposite of everything.
President diversity, inclusion, and whatnot. He's going to make sure that military that's over there and stays over there for another 20 years is diverse as fuck.
Oh yeah, well we need that.
I brought let's see, what did I have here? I have an article and it says that this is from VOA News, and it says that the Taliban warned turning away from the Afghan peace deal is doomed failure. The Taliban's pissed, right? Because they are getting vibes, I guess, from the Biden administration that
war is back on the menu.
We're not leaving. We made a deal, just like with the Native Americans over the years, right? We made so many deals with them and reneged on the deals. We made a deal with the Taliban. Are they good people? Are they bad people? I don't fucking know. I don't care. But you made a deal for peace, and you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Are they holding up their end of the bargain? I don't know. I'm not there on the ground. I don't know. But it seems like we will never, ever, ever end that war. We beat the fucking Germans in 2 years. We're still over there fighting, against people with nowhere near the technological capabilities.
They don't even have tanks or anything.
But we're there for 20 years. It's not a winnable war. And like we've said, the military-industrial complex, they love Biden.
Yeah.
It's back to business. War's back on the menu. It is. That's it.
Go ahead, Ann. What do you got for it?
I honestly think they're both playing with us. I think the Taliban and the United States are on the same side. They're being bought by like all the big elitists and the bankers, and they're just having us fooled.
You know, this is also going to be pretty interesting too, because your views have changed a lot over the past year,
Totally.
right? Yeah. So we might get some,
Go into it,
new
dude.
information.
Tell us
Yeah.
what you think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm still a right winger. I mean, I really haven't swayed left, but like I'm not very confident in the government. I'm more anti-government involvement and all of that. And you can't take everything that's on the media like seriously.
No, you can't at all.
People talk wars with the Middle East, and like the Muslim nations, and they make this whole thing like I don't know if you've heard about the Barbary Wars.
No.
I've vaguely heard.
I read a book recently about. I don't know if you guys know Brian Kilmeade from Fox News.
Heard of him.
Sounds
yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Is he big on Twitter?
I'm not sure about Twitter, but I mean, he's one.
The name sounds familiar.
He's one of the better people on Fox because he just talks straight up history, straight up facts. Apparently, we had like a war with like pirates from like Libya and Egypt and Algeria, and what was going on was like they were taking away, our ships. We're a new nation, like French and the British were paying a tribute in order to not get kidnapped, and because we were a new country, we weren't under
We didn't
British.
pay our dues yet.
We weren't under British rule anymore because we had just won the independence, so we were the new target. But then like John Adams and Jefferson met with like the leader of Algeria, and he said that it had nothing to do with war and the United States being a new place. It had to do with their prophet leader Muhammad and what the Quran said to take over all non-believers. So like people say like the United States is all about this and all about that, but it's like what? Some of these states they've been doing this for centuries, trying to cause violence.
I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like it's not. People act like it's something from 40 or 50 years ago. This has been going on since almost the beginning. I think it was like 10, 12 years into this country being around.
Yeah, easily the military-industrial complex has been around since
Yeah,
America.
It really took off after World War II. I think that whole scenario you were just talking about in Algeria and like Tunisia, probably. I think that's when like the Marines were first established to go fight that war because you needed guys that would like be in the Navy, take the ships over there, get off, and then go fight on. You needed like the Marines.
Yeah.
For that, so I think that's like the founding of the Marines basically back then.
I know you like to read, Skaggs. Chris, do you do any reading or
Not as much as you guys do.
Dr. Seuss.
I would
Dr.
definitely
Seuss, that's
recommend
all I
that
read.
for you if you want like a good history thing, because I had no idea that any of this happened. And like
Okay.
you said, the Marines hymn, when they talk about like the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli,
Yeah.
it had to do
Right.
with it.
Yeah.
I started reading this. I was like, oh, that's what the reference
Right,
was.
this,
I
the
had-
whole
Okay,
the
that's
shores
pretty cool.
of Tripoli are because of this conflict you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah, it's always funny because we were talking about it recently. Like America started off as an isolationist nation. That was like the precedent that Washington started, and we couldn't be further from that. Now we're involved in every
we have to get
everybody's
we're
business.
we're involved in gender studies in the Middle East. Like,
right, everything everywhere. And
we're in turmoil, but let's give money to boys and girls that are confused with their natural organs that they
a
were
world
born with.
away.
Like, okay.
a lot of the problems we have, around the world here in America are like repercussions of things we did, and then in order to
of
fix
course.
those things, they tell you, no, you need us to do more stuff. We were just talking about this the other day, actually. I know you're going to probably want to talk about immigration. There's this whole mess going on at the border, and Biden didn't really want to pay it any attention until recently. I think he finally made his first comments on it.
Don't come. I'm putting my foot down. I'm the nicer guy, but don't come. Come.
I was making the point that maybe Trump's his demeanor, his stupid, the way he spoke deterred people from coming over. So whether you thought that was racist or it was morally wrong or the image or the symbol of the wall, those things kind of worked.
Deterred you.
They deterred people, right? And take those things away now, and you see there's this whole, this whole wave of people that are trying to come over. And then I was talking to you about how, well, the Democrats just want to say that everything is racist and whatnot, but they don't want to actually fix the root cause of these problems. Why people are even coming over here, or make it possible that they could come in legally or organized. A lot of the reasons why people are fleeing these countries in South America is because we fucked them up, right? With the war on drugs, destabilized Mexico, Colombia, etc. That was a failed war. All our fucking coups on all those countries and
in South
the
America,
CIA and all that shit destabilized these countries and made them terrible places for people to live. They don't want to. People don't want to die.
They're
People
forcing
wanna
them
live.
here.
Yeah. So they're running to America because it's a better place. So, but the government comes and tells you, no, we'll fix it though.
Yeah.
We'll fix it with more government action.
The issue, though, is, under Trump, ICE was a powerhouse. There was no more catch and release. You got sent back to Mexico. You got sent back to wherever you hailed from, really. They did away with that. They just remarketed the same holding facilities that Obama used, that Trump used. And now Biden has, like, a few of them are, like, at 700% capacity. There's more kids now at the border separated from their parents than there has been, like, in the past 4 years. So that might not be a correct statement. I'm just making my point here. This issue, though, you're right. Trump's rhetoric did did stop people from coming, but he also had policies in place to slow this down, whereas Biden just reversed it for the sake of not being Trump and created this process. If they said, oh, Biden inherited a broken system. If the system was broken by Trump, they'd be showing up in MAGA hats, not Joe Biden t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like, for the whole sake of just doing the opposite because we don't like the old guy, we've created this issue.
That's right.
You good?
I'm good.
He's just zoned
I had
in.
an ADD moment.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to go back, kind of get back on topic with the war thing. The other point I wanted to make was that the media outlets are already trying to, like, spin the propaganda narrative of, well, we can't leave Afghanistan because things are not good. Things are no good there, and if we leave, it's going to be a disaster. I found an article here, and it's the LA Times, super liberal establishment.
No, that's one of the most conservative papers out there, just like the Washington Post.
Oh yeah, they're totally conservative.
Yeah, and truthful.
Oh, very, very truthful.
So look, their headline from the Los Angeles Times is leaving Afghanistan under Trump deal could spur chaos, U.S. commanders say. So they're saying if we leave Afghanistan under the terms of the Trump peace deal, it's going to be chaos.
There'll be no peace.
There'll be chaos. There'll be no peace. If we hold true to the peace deal, there'll be no peace. There'll be chaos.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Liberals are supposed to embody anti-war, no killing innocent people.
Right.
But this is a liberal, media, establishment newspaper, and they're telling you, no, don't leave, stay at war. Another 20 years, another 40 years, 50, 100 will be there fucking forever.
Go ahead.
As we said, we're going to curse. It's impossible.
You do realize this is just the media playing with us.
Yes,
right?
it's the deadliest virus out there.
They do this every single time. Okay, Bush, from as far back as I can remember. Fox hated on Clinton. Bush comes in, CNN hates on Bush. Obama comes in, Fox hates on him. CNN hates Trump. It's like they just keep dividing us.
Dude, you realize what that headline signifies? Read it again because I can't see it.
Leaving Afghanistan under the Trump deal could spur chaos, U.S. commanders say.
The deal was for peace if you left. So now, by negating the peace deal and staying, of course there's going to be chaos.
Right.
This is all narrative driven. They're literally now taking his old deals and plans, and they're like, all right, we could spin this way and fuck these people. Like, they're literally just making a new narrative of, oh, things are getting out of control. Things are getting out of control because you're not listening to the peace deal that was made.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
They don't want to listen to
No,
the peace
they
deal,
don't.
though.
They
want
don't.
to stay at war forever. They always want the boogeyman. They always want it. Always.
If there's peace, there's no money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have
just like with Big Farm, if there's a cure, there's no sick people, then there's no money.
Yeah. And the thing is, the media backs that shit up. The media is lockstep, writing propaganda pieces for the military-industrial complex, supporting their position. But they'll sell themselves as the woke, the social justice champions, but they never ever take a hard look at ending war. How many, like we said, a couple 100,000 Iraqis died in this war. That's not even counting Afghanistan, but were all of them bad people? No, there was plenty of innocent people there. Are there any liberal tears? They're fake liberal. Are there any liberal tears shed for those people? No.
Are there any liberal tears shed for the soldiers that go over there? They're just
pawns.
they use this the military, the soldiers that actually are in the military, as basically kind of like like your Call of Duty character. Like, to them, they have unlimited restarts. You know what I mean? If you go 0-14 in Call of Duty, you died 14 times. In real life, you only can go X and O to survive war. To them, they're 5,000 and 20,000. You know, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be someone to take that spot, and there's just no value to like what they're throwing the men into.
Yeah.
And then on the same side, just you're killing a computer generated enemy. You know,
almost right.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff done now is by drone and whatnot. You know, it's not even like it's impersonal. You know, like we're factory farming, killing people.
Yeah.
You know, via computer screens and some of these things. Even I remember seeing like use Xbox controllers that they like backwards rigged to control,
make it feel more
whatever.
comfortable.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. What we see here with this woke shit isn't going to end until we somehow curb the media. And with the war, we'll just create a new one. If this doesn't work anymore, we'll just create a new one.
Well, the new one is us.
Yes.
White, domestic, terrorists. We were talking a little about this past week too, with the military stepping way out of its lane.
What did I see?
Where the National Guard from Guam.
Yeah, it's not only just that, but
Is that what you were leading into?
yeah, that
Okay.
and the Tucker Carlson
Yes.
stuff.
I
can
haven't
never say
heard
his name.
anything. About
Okay,
this,
so Tucker made a.
I just listened to all about this.
I didn't listen to him talking about it, but he made a tweet or a comment saying that, if the military plans on treating us like they treat the Taliban, we'll be perfectly fine because they don't do nothing about them. And then
It wasn't just that. It was that Tucker made a lot of comments recently about the military, but the thing is, Tucker has always criticized the military. He's hit them always hard on things that we hit them about, the never-ending wars, speaking out against the military-industrial complex, etc. So Tucker made the mistake this past week of saying something against the woke narrative. I think it was this past week, where he said, I don't know if you remember last week, I think it was last week, Biden came and had that press conference with the two military people, and he mentioned in it how
the female generals,
and then they mentioned how they're designing pregnant for pregnant women, like uniforms that suit pregnant women better. That's fine. I have no problem with that, right? It actually makes sense. Tucker went on and said, why is he basically along the lines of criticizing Biden for why is he worried about this woke stuff? Like, is that going to help the military win wars?
Microaggression Band-Aid,
etc., etc., etc. I don't agree with Tucker. It's not that big of an issue for him to talk about it, but because he said that, the top brass in the military came out and went after him, criticizing him, calling him like drama TV. A multiple top brass in the military came out and said this. They're not supposed to say anything, right? They're in the military. They're supposed to just be quiet, and they're not supposed to take part in politics, and that's it. So you had that, right? You had top brass speaking out against a political commentator, trying to discount him, whatever. Remember, they're not supposed to get involved in politics. And then you had, you're familiar with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
The name sounds familiar.
She's
but I can't place who it is.
She's the woman, the congresswoman who across the hall from her.
She's a nut job.
Yeah, she's super right wing. They call her like the Q congresswoman. The congresswoman across the hall from her put up a transgendered flag. So she got a big sign made that there's only two genders, trust the science, and put that up on her wall. Sorry. And everybody's, she's been everyone's number one target. And then this took place.
I guess she says a lot of stupid shit, right? So I guess at some point she said she was talking about Guam and like whatever she was saying, she didn't consider Guam part of America. I'm not sure the exact quote or whatever. Guam is part of America.
It's a territory,
right?
Yeah.
And Guam has a National Guard and etc. The Guam National Guard members that I guess are in Washington D.C. showed up at her office uninvited, unannounced. Knocking on the door, and they were, they meant nice, I guess you could say. They were trying to make a statement of like, look, we're
still intimidating.
They were trying to make a statement of like, look, we're Americans, we serve in the Guard, we exist, we're from Guam. And it was like 20, 30 men and women from the National Guard, and they brought her like cookies or something. Again, that's politics. The military is not supposed to engage in politics, but since Commander-in-Chief Woke Grandpa has taken over. we're trending towards
Yeah.
like Soviet style, Soviet era military, where the military in the Soviet Union was, it's just like little tiny things here and there so far, just little, microaggressions, as we say. But they're getting involved in politics now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They gave them the ribbon for defending the Capitol service, right? Biden is giving every National Guard member like a ribbon for being there. They've basically militarized and fortified the Capitol building into it's more secure than the green zone in like Afghanistan is now.
And it just keeps getting their stay just keeps getting extended.
We're the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Not the people that are building up this military infrastructure around their ideology. No, it's us, the people pointing that out.
Insane. So what do you want to talk about next, Dan?
Sorry, this is a little rant.
Yeah, we kind of just steamrolled you there.
No,
what are you excited to talk about today?
Honestly, I'm just winging it. I'm just going with the flow.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel you.
All right.
So you're what were we saying the other day that your like opinions have changed?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
Yeah. So tell us. Like,
I know you're more of like no one can be trusted anymore. You've almost become like cynical of everything.
Very cynical.
Yeah,
totally.
You're almost like full like libertarian, just like no government.
Actually, I looked that up. The whole like being like a right wing centrist actually falls under libertarian. Like I got confused like with the meanings. It means the same thing, but I don't know. In the beginning of the pandemic, it just never made sense to me. Like I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but it just didn't make sense to me. Like how like a disease could just come out of the blue like that. Talking about eating a bat. Like it's like really like somebody ate one dude ate a bat and the whole world got contaminated. Like that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Honestly, the South Park pandemic episode, I don't know if you ever saw
that.
that. That's honestly more believable than what the media says.
Yeah.
I'd rather believe that someone banged the bat, fucked the bat, and spread COVID. That makes more sense.
I watched it. That was a funny episode.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I honestly zoned out after 15 minutes. I was like, you know what? I was like, this is too stupid for me. I'm done. But I will say that whatever the first 15 minutes that I saw was great, but I just don't plan on seeing the rest of it anymore.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Fair enough.
What's suspicious about the whole thing is, like you said, you're not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how viruses work necessarily. Right. What was suspicious to me is that if you question anything now, you're not allowed to question anything.
Yeah.
Now. And like the way that all the like the powers that be, the tech, everybody like coalesced around this thing of no, there'll be no questioning on this. Doesn't matter. Fuck your First Amendment. If you question this, you don't believe the science, and you're putting grandma at risk. Well, what do you mean? I'm not saying that the virus doesn't exist. I have questions about Fauci and about this and about that and about where it came from and is it being used against us? But no, you can't question that. So it's suspicious. That is suspicious.
Yeah.
Not the virus, in my opinion. The fact that they're trying to like force you to fucking like what's
you have to believe this or else.
Conform. Yeah. Don't question.
Ant's got a pretty good point here.
I'm just reading an interesting quote. I actually posted this on my Instagram earlier today, but it's actually bounces off of what Skaggs has just been saying. They say you can't question anything. I mean, this quote pretty much states, it says 1% control the world, 4% are their puppets, 90% are asleep, 5% know and try to wake the 90%. The 1% use the 4% to prevent the 5% from waking up the 90%.
Yeah. So I'd say we fall within the 5%.
I would maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we've been going back and forth with the conspiracies. Joe Biden's address to the nation when he told everyone to get vaccinated, far as I'm concerned, was a paid-for advertisement by Big Farm.
Oh, 100%.
We've always talked about how political seats are always for sale. Big Farm band together and bought the presidency, as far as I'm concerned, whether what you think about the election or not. But this don't question COVID. We're going to stop investigating Wuhan and the Wuhan lab, and everyone, the entire world. You want to talk about taking over the world? How do you take over the world? Every single person needs to get this shot on the planet. Once everybody's you've taken over the world. Everyone knows your name. And then you were talking about how, wow, my whole headset just went out. But anyway, we were talking about how Pfizer had the meeting with its board members and like, oh, now we need a third shot and all that.
You can't hear anything? Or?
No, it's all dead.
I hear you, so you're still being recorded.
Just keep going.
I'll fix it after I make this point. But yes, I saw recently like Pfizer had like a shareholders call. And in it, the big wigs of Pfizer were saying how we need to start thinking about how after the pandemic is over, us moving into the endemic stage, which just basically means like there's a disease around forever that you can't get rid of. And they were saying how they were basically saying how people are probably going to need like third booster shots and then yearly shots, like kind of like the flu, how you have to go get that yearly shot every year in order to prevent, getting COVID. And they were saying how they stand to like profit significantly from this, this phase of the going into the virus.
It's
that kind of like proves exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
that,
and dude, and on top,
sorry.
I'm good now. I think
okay.
Ant might have just kicked the wire.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right, as long as you guys, I was gonna
now.
get down there and fix it, but
and now it's gone again. But whatever. But no. So something that the press secretary was talking about today was, since Trump was on the phone last night with Fox or whatever, and he called it the China virus again. We're not allowed to question where this. There we go. It's perfect now.
It's from China.
Yeah, we're not allowed to question anything about this virus, and now we're not even allowed to blame the country it originated in. And this will actually go into that shooting that you brought up before. And so the press secretary actually said, she's like, since Trump has been calling it the China virus, there's been an uptick in crime and assault against Asian Americans, which I truly believe there is. But that is just such a media head talking point that Trump said China, so Chinese people are getting attacked. You know what I mean? Like, what bullshit could there possibly be? It's just another thing where sooner or later, in my opinion, where the COVID virus is just going to have been something created by Trump himself. Because we're moving further and further away from the fact that China, it did whether you think it happened in China, whether you, like me, who thinks it was created in China.
No matter what it originated.
Yes.
No matter what way you think it did, it did.
Yes. But we're moving so far away from that aspect. We don't want to investigate it. We can't question it. Anytime Trump mentions the name of the virus, he's xenophobic and he's causing all. What's the point here? Just tell us, like, no, we infected you. Fuck off. Like, and yeah, I cursed. Fuck. God.
We're gonna have to do a swear jar, like Pal told us.
So
we're gonna do a swear jar.
So since we've been working with this radio station, WBOB, we're trying not to curse anymore because eventually we're
gonna curse. But when we're on the radio, obviously we have to keep it PG.
So what? You're trying not to say fucking shit like that?
Yeah. You could do it. You're our guest, but
Fuck it.
It's gonna take.
Fuck it.
We're just two normal idiots, and cursing is part of our vocabulary.
Yep,
so
everybody does it.
Work.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
But so you want to talk about this shooting, or?
Yeah. I agree. There probably has been an uptick in Asian American racism and whatnot because of the pandemic, just the same way there was after 9/11 towards like Muslim people, because something happens and people blame a certain ethnic group, like happened to Japanese in World War II.
Yep. They
put them in the internment camps or whatever. The government did that.
Right.
The same people who are telling you to fix everything.
Well, help is here. They've already fixed it.
Right. Help is here for the Japanese, Americans too. Just not the kind of help they wanted. So I definitely do think that there is an uptick probably in Asian American, hate or whatever. Right. And it's not right. That goes without saying. Obviously, I don't have to say that that's not right. Every decent person in the world knows that that's not right. So what happened the other day, like we were saying before, this guy...
Did you hear about this story yet?
Just from what I told you.
Honestly, from what you told me, I didn't read any article. I caught the gist of it. Like, to be honest with you, like, I'm sick and tired of anything that's on the news. It's bullshit. I'm sick and tired of this racial shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody is.
Well, we were going to talk about critical race theory today too. So
that's hard to get into, but
I know, but we could touch upon it for a conversation.
We can get to the gist.
This is part of it. But let's talk about exactly what happened. So this guy, Robert Aaron Long, he's 21 years old and he's a white guy. He's a southern white guy, right? So he's like a Bubba. He shot up 3 massage parlors in Atlanta. He killed 8 people. 6 of them were Asian American women or Asian women. I'm not sure if they're Asian American. They haven't put out like what exactly they are. That was just weird.
They're probably white, so they don't count.
Well, no, they just said Asian, and then 2 white women, I believe, also died. So this is terrible, right? Obviously, this guy, shot up all these people right away. because he fits that agenda of white nationalists, domestic terrorists, etc. The leftists, etc. on social media went berserk. The memes came out. The official looking narrative posters came out. This is the face of white nationalist domestic terrorism. This guy killed these people because they were Asian. And tying it into, I saw one professional meme someone put, tying it into Trump's rhetoric of the China virus is like encouraging white nationalist terrorists like this guy to attack Asian folk and now kill them.
You good, Ant?
You know what? I'll take another one.
That was yesterday, right? The police got this guy. Another thing I saw, which was interesting, was
best sound ever.
People were these leftists on Twitter and whatnot. I saw something this morning. We're saying like, isn't it crazy how the police arrested this guy and he's not shot? He doesn't get shot like black people did. So I commented, I'm like, so you're saying they should have shot him?
Yeah.
For no reason? He surrendered basically. Or
they would have loved to see him get shot.
But my point was, they're arguing the police should have committed police brutality against someone that they could have peacefully arrested. They're arguing, this person was arguing for the thing he is always accusing the police of doing to people. He's arguing that they do it. Does that make any sense to you? That's why critical race theory, this woke ideology, is upside down. This wasn't even the media, dude. This is just blue check, left wing Twitter people.
The blue check,
which are the worst.
The Agent Smiths.
No, what I mean is like this is what that's what they try to do all the time. So like this is as a result of people listening to everything the media says over the years. The last 4 years. It's a continuation.
Oh yeah. And not for nothing, I don't even disagree with the guy. Throw this fucking guy under the jail, as I like to say, for what he did. But you can't people argue that point, and then when it goes when like the narrative is flipped over, they're now on the police side of executing people without without due process.
And on top of this, so they spoke to the guy, and this wasn't he even admitted it.
That was right. That was yesterday. Today comes out that the police.
I'm just laughing at the shirt. I just noticed what your shirt said. I'm laughing my ass off right now.
So just to set you up, that was yesterday. That was the whole narrative out there yesterday and this morning. I guess overnight the police interviewed him and spoke with the guy, and the police come out and tell you his motives. Go ahead.
So the guy admitted, he was like, this was all sexually fueled. He's like, this had nothing to do with race. You know what I mean? Like the whole narrative is now broken. So there's one of two ways this is going to go. They're going to forget that and paint this guy as the new,
that's what's happening.
KKK Lord Supreme, or they're just going to dump this story and never talk about it again.
No, that's what's happening. It doesn't matter that people are saying that the cops are lying, that the guy is lying. Maybe he is. Listen. I don't know. Wait, hold on. I don't know. Maybe he is. I had a talk with a friend of mine, and I showed him this information. I'm like, maybe the guy is lying. I'm not there. I didn't have the conversation with them. I don't know. But it seems like, I don't think the cops would lie about that. I don't think the cops, because that's like no criminal case, right? I don't know. But now you're just, no matter, they're being conspiracy theorists.
Yes,
right?
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah. They're being conspiracy theorists. They're saying the cops and this guy are lying about his motives. Should we ban them from Twitter now and whatnot for saying
that's misinformation?
Right. Go ahead.
I don't. How convenient. Put it. You know how we always say, like, what a coincidence. Like, what are the odds this guy's lying now? Like, the only reason why I think he'd be lying so they could continue to push this narrative.
Mm-hmm. What you go ahead.
No, you can go.
I was gonna say what pisses me off about this whole thing, and I'm sorry to even like laugh because it's not a laughing matter that people got killed by some psychopath asshole. People, like leftists, use this as like a political cudgel to like further their narrative. Yeah. Be damned, the people who lost their lives, and the actual reason of and situation what happened here. No, that doesn't matter. They might pretend like they care and whatnot. No, they just, holy shit, here's something we could use. This justifies everything we've been saying about white nationalists and domestic terror. Bam, you're selling it. Bam, you're selling it. Bam, you're selling it.
It's the agenda-driven, like you're saying, with the media. So I listened to Tim
Dillon,
the one that you told me.
Timcast.
Timcast, yeah.
Tim Pool.
And they were talking about mid-level violence. it's basically when you and your sister were in the back of the seat of the car and you had your finger in your sister's face and you're saying, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And then finally your sister fucking blows a fuse and punches you in the face.
Right.
She reacted way worse than what you were doing. So not only do you get the sympathy, you know, you look like the victim and you now just your sister's in trouble. Meanwhile, you started it. Back during the George Floyd riots and stuff, these cities were taking a beating.
Right.
The governors weren't doing anything. But if Trump sent in anyone to stop this, oh, you're a dictator, you're a dictator, you're a dictator. So you either have to back down,
Which is
or
why he didn't too.
Right. You either have to back down and allow this, or you have to overreact. And here we go again with just a simple. Okay, so either are we going to overreact and then you're a racist, or do we back down and they get to push a false narrative?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I said, be damned the reality of the scenario. You had this sycophant guy, you know, who had sexual frustrations or whatever it was. And you know, like, it kind of makes sense because, you know, it's not going out on a limb here to say that some of these massage parlors do things like happy endings and that sort of stuff. So when I heard that, I'm like, okay, I get it. I guess this guy used to go to these places. He's definitely like an unstable, crazy person, and he just snapped. And he shot people up, but you know, that's not a narrative that suits woke ideology right now. So that doesn't matter. They're gonna just I already saw the goalposts are being moved, and they're trying to now. I saw how the goalposts are being moved and how sexual harassment, sexual assault is like another form of white supremacy, white nationalism, and how it ties into.
Almost got that wrapped up easily.
Let's not also. I don't know if you've seen recently. There's been a lot of woke shit accusing Asian Americans of being white nationalists because, like, you know, they get into the schools, you know, like wait till people find out Asian Americans are the majority. They're not even the minority. They're not even the minority. They are the majority of the planet. I guess so, right? China and Asia has like majority of the population of the
yes,
planet, yeah.
They're not the minority. They're not.
They're like 1.1 billion in China alone.
Yes. They're not the minority, and this is an interesting path for the left to take because they're always the victim of the minority. There's no minority here.
Well, that's why. Yeah,
that's an excellent point. Actually,
but to be fair, like I just said, they have been for a while now. You know, making Asians synonymous with white nationalism because saying that they benefit from the system of white nationalists. They've been, using that narrative until wait a minute, something happened that we could spin more politically against white nationalism, and forget about that other thing we were just saying like a week ago. That doesn't apply anymore. Now now we have to change it
until next week when we can flip it back.
This is what James Lindsay says, bro. Like these people use words, like they change the meaning of words, they move goalposts just to benefit their narrative, and there's no consistency ever in all this woke ideology bullshit.
Yeah. What did you listen to that YouTube clip of the critical theory?
No, I actually started reading like the critical race theory to get like the idea of what it was, and honestly,
Did you want to scratch your eyes out
after 2 or 3 sentences? Like, you know what? I don't care. I don't follow any of this shit that they're saying, and what they're like. They want to let everyone think that the majority of white people are like this. Like this, it's not true.
Right.
It's not even white people. It's like white. Like white applies to
right.
Like I said with the words, white can apply to Asians.
Yeah.
It could apply to black people,
right?
It could apply to black people who do stuff that they consider white.
Right.
Like there was that.
Who's
that's not racist though.
Yes, it is.
It's reverse.
Yes, it is.
Who was the black senator or congressman? Remember, like oh my God,
Tim Scott.
Yeah, I believe it was him. He came up with some bill
police reform,
police reform bill that was completely what the left wing wanted, but because he's a Republican, they're like, no, fuck this guy.
Right. You had a black man, congressman, smart guy. You know, he came up with like a police reform bill. No. Democrats want nothing to do with it. Why? Because they don't want to give a win to a Republican.
Right.
But that's the way they think, though. Like, regardless of maybe this bill would have actually made policing better and helped black people. No, we can't give a Republican a win. It doesn't matter if it actually would have helped people because we don't actually really care about people. All we care about is wins and losses politically. And right now it's just better for us to keep pushing that narrative of division and racism and white nationalism, because we're going to win that fight, even if the guy arguing against us is a black guy. You all right?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's gone again, but I don't care anymore. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's
The critical race theory stuff. It's interesting, and I don't like it, but it's very
they
it's
basically
a lot to
like
get into.
Oprah is a victim, while the three of us will always be better off than she is. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense to you?
Honestly, you know what? Give me $1 billion and be oppressed. I'll talk oppression all day. She's got it easy. When you have that kind of money, you can bullshit the world like that.
Yeah.
The critical race theory stuff wants to split people up by
It's
race.
the greatest divider.
I just shared something the other day about, I think it's like
Columbia
University is having like 6 different inaugurations based on race.
Yeah,
That's woke ideology. They're pressing woke ideology.
They're segregating. They're segregating the graduating class. So they're. I said this today. They are segregating the class so they don't. So they won't be racist. They're racially segregating the entire graduating class so there will be no racism.
Does this make any sense? They're creating racism.
There's going to be a black graduation, a Latino graduation, an Asian graduation, an LGBTQ graduation. White people are the only people not graduating from Columbia this year. They'll get their diplomas in the mail.
Is that true? Is that?
Oh, I don't know. But they didn't bring up that. You know, that was the other thing I was going to say. Like, okay, so they're dividing this graduating class by race and income. Now, what happens when it's the upper class white graduation turn to, graduating class turn to graduate? Is this going to be a nicer, fancier affair? You know what I mean?
And then they're going to say, well, look what happens with the white people. They get the nicer, fancier fare. They get the nice butlers and the fancy champagne. And, this is all more of a this is how this shit works, dude. This is literally how this shit works. I keep saying,
but I got to say, though, the LGBTQ community's graduation is going to be fabulous. There's going to be shows and just...
I'm kind of upset that we can't go.
That should be the Grammys right there.
Guys. I kind of want to go to that because it sounds like a fucking party.
It's going to be the best party Columbia ever had.
I'm convinced we got to get more into this with like an actual expert on the topic. But I'm convinced like the critical race theory people are the actual racists, and they're trying to bring back racism, under like the guise of being social justice champions,
Yeah.
And they're also trying to push basically
wolf in
Marxist,
sheep's clothing.
Yes, thank you. They're trying to push like communist Marxist ideas on them. Even this was in that Timcast. They were saying that the Black Lives Matter fist symbol is just the communist fist symbol. It's just that they co-opted that into the movement because, as we said, the founders of way back when we originally did our deep dive into the Black Lives Matter movement, the founders of the movement are literally Marxist, trained Marxist people, which are communists.
Wasn't I think Lenin one of them, Vladimir Lenin or some shit?
No, like the women who founded the Black Lives Matter movement.
I was thinking about the.
There's
Russian
like a few
ones.
women who founded the Black Lives Matter movement. They're literally communists.
Right.
So they've co-opted some communist symbols into the movement, like the fist. Is literally it's a red and white fist.
Antifa's black and red flags.
Right. And long story short is, that's like a good statement, right? Obviously, Black Lives Matter, and you have people that don't realize that people honestly want to do good. They want to be like part of this movement because they want to make we want black people to not be like oppressed and whatnot. So they join the movement thinking this is the right thing, not realizing there's some nefarious stuff going on behind the scenes and agenda and whatnot.
They're in it to end, police brutality.
Right,
but,
right. They're not there to
BLM is here to push some worldly agenda. You got some quote over here?
The fascists of the future will be the anti-fascists. Winston Churchill.
Yeah, he was not wrong.
Nope.
He was not wrong.
He was a god when it came to quotes. So he's got thousands of quotes, and they're all relatable. And it's like it's like he had a glass ball and he saw everything that happened.
Even like that guy Tim Pool said, he was like, "Isn't it amazing that like the anti-fascists are the most fascist people out there?
Yeah,
like,
do anything they don't like. Back when they had that autonomous zone in Portland or whatever.
Well, not back when they still have it. And Minnesota is now Minnesota is now funding the autonomous zone.
You're funding anarchy.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? But if you walked into, and I saw videos of people walking into that autonomous zone in Portland, and you did or said anything that they didn't want, they'd beat the fuck out of you. The same way that the brown shirts in Nazi Germany would beat the fuck out of you if you went against the party line. It's the same shit, like you said.
That's the real white
anti-fascists
supremacy.
Are the most fascist people around.
That's the real white supremacy right there.
Absolutely.
I had this thought actually earlier today that with all the shit going on and everybody trying to push this narrative of everything is racist, everybody's racist, the whole country is racist. You know, there's so many racists, there's so many white nationalists in this country. The fact that so many people, like a lot of people, believe that, right? And a lot of people are angry at the fact that, you know, that there's all these racists and whatnot out there. So many people care about racism and you know, think it's a bad thing. That almost proves it not true. Like, there's so many people in America that care about racism, you know, care about it not existing. That unproves their statement of them saying everybody's a racist. How could everybody be a racist if so many people are woke and really have honest to God, you know, like genuine feelings of, I want to get rid of racism and whatnot. You just unproved your fucking, you know, thing saying everybody's a racist.
Yeah, I said this to an old boss of mine. I used to work at this company, and every 5 minutes you got this bright red email, top priority, emergency, drop what you're doing. This is the new top priority. And then you would drop what you're doing and you'd start working on the top priority. And then you would get another email 20 minutes later, top priority, drop what you're doing. So you would drop that top priority, start working on this top priority, and then you get in trouble for dropping that top priority. But then you would get a third email saying, this is now the top priority. You need to start doing this. If everything is a top priority, then nothing is a priority. If everything is racist, then nothing is racist. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
well, like James Lindsay says, they play with words, right? They change the meaning of words. Words lose meaning too when you just throw them around casually.
Well, that's why the new term is white supremacy, because for the past 4 years, the media has used up their term in racist by calling Trump a racist. I said this a long time ago. They're going to call Trump a racist so many times that by the time he's out of office, when you get called a racist, you're okay. Yeah. Thanks for listening to CNN. Bye-bye. You know, it's going to have no more meaning. And that's the real fucking sin, because now when real racism takes place, we just turn a blind eye. Yeah.
I agree. I think that applies also to like COVID rules and the ever changing goalposts on that. When you keep, you know, there are the people out there that are no matter what gonna like, you know, listen to everything Biden or Fauci, you know, like they're politically convenient people say, and then there are people that are gonna listen because they think, you know what, these guys, I'll give them a little bit more time, and then okay, well this happened, I'll give them a little bit more time, and then well, you know, something else happened, I'll give them a little bit more time. But then after like 3 or 4 times of you giving them a little bit more time because something changed, then people are like, I feel like majority of people can be like, all right, well hold on a second, it's been 10 years. You know what I mean? What are we fucking talking about here? You know, and then people are just not going to listen anymore to pandemic,
too late.
Virus, vaccine, disaster, you know, this, that.
There was something that I was laughing at. Did you listen to Trump speak on Fox last night?
No.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was talking.
You're tuned out, bro, of just news. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Honestly,
you must be living stress-free.
I voted for Trump, but you know what? I don't care about him anymore either, because
he's out of office, right?
He's out of office, but besides that, though, if you really want to be woke, you know, these liberals that consider themselves woke, and they want to wake everybody up, they're really putting everybody to sleep. Okay.
Up is down, down is up.
Exactly.
Woke is asleep.
And you know what? If you want to be a true free thinker, you need to question every single thing, not just things that you're against. You need to question everything that sounds like, you know, that sounds so good for, you know, on your end
too good to be true.
100%.
Exactly. You know what? Yeah, I voted for Trump, but can I tell you something? I mean, if he was, you know, so great, he would have taken over the inauguration, like, you know, all these QAnons were saying. Right? Because, I mean, let's be realistic here. I know the majority of people in this country are stupid, but I don't think they were that stupid enough to vote for, you know, Dementia Joe. Okay, let's be real here. Everybody knows this was like a fraudulent election and that Trump didn't step up and no one stepped up. It just tells you, you know what? Maybe Trump is a puppet just like everybody else.
There's always been that theory.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, like you were saying earlier about, they were going to blame, Trump for being involved with COVID and all of that. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just another puppet.
Oh, yeah, no.
He was controlled, and you know what? Trump was, Trump played, wanted to be the good guy on the right side. Oh, this came from China, this came from that. No, you know what? Let's be real. It sounds more believable that the United States created the whole thing. China invested money, and they were both involved in it.
Yeah. No, that's
always been my view.
You'll
of
never
Trump.
hear that. You'll never hear that on the news, though.
No.
My view of Trump is he's not a good guy. He's just a bad guy.
He's bought.
He's a bad guy fighting against the other bad guys, right? And
which makes him the good guy.
Which makes him it doesn't make him the good guy.
No, which makes him viewed as a good guy.
Right, which makes him viewed as a good guy by people who don't realize this is just a bunch of bad like George Carlin says, right? It's a big club and you ain't in it, right? There was a video I shared a while ago of some fucking party that Trump's at and he's giving a little speech and there's Hillary Clinton, there's I think it's like Archbishop Timothy Dolan, whole bunch of people, suits and ties, tuxedos, etc.
Black tie event.
And Trump is, this is after the election, after he became president. He's poking jokes at Hillary's dad, laughing, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't know what it was, what's going on. I'm like, what is going on here? These people, man, it's like fucking what's his name from Superman?
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor against the
Joker or something.
Not even the Joker, like another super powerful businessman in the DC universe. You know what I mean? Like, because like Lex Luthor, he's got a huge following. He could paint the other guy as the bad guy, but in reality, they're both bad guys.
Yeah.
At least I knew Trump was a bad guy, and like for the most part, Trump wasn't trying to like take my rights away and undo this amendment and that amendment and force this woke bullshit on us. We could have checked him on all the stupid shit he did for the most part, which we did, right? For everybody saying he was a fucking, like a dictator and whatnot, he showed restraint.
Yeah,
in those situations where people were saying, well, if he uses the military to put out riots of lawless people breaking into people's businesses and stuff, he didn't do it, right? Because he was, I'm not a dictator. I want to be viewed as a dictator. Does a dictator do that? No, they don't. I'm sorry, man. I hate defending Trump, but I'm just trying to defend reality.
You know what, though? There's so many people out there that just keep finding themselves ending up defending him, and
I'm not defending him. I'm arguing against the bullshit of the Democrats and the wokeness one. Like I said, Trump's a bad guy. He's just their enemy. So you know what I mean?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That was a question in the in the test that we took.
Yeah.
And what did you guys answer to that one? Well, let me get some background real quick. Sorry, I found this political test. What was it called? It was basically,
look it up.
Yeah, look it up if you can. It was like a political test, and there's like 6 pages of questions it asks you, and then it gives you a graph, like a box graph and
political compass. Your political
Great
compass.
quiz, by the way.
What's the website called?
Politicalcompass.org.
Politicalcompass.org, and you answer a whole bunch of questions, and then it shows you on a graph where you end up on the graph, and it's based on like liberal, conservative, authoritarian, libertarian, and what was the question we were talking about?
Do you believe
the enemy
that
of my enemy is my friend?
Yeah.
Yes. What did you?
Pretty sure I said I agree.
What did you say?
I put agree, but not strongly agree.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I wish, like the quiz, if it had like somewhat agree, somewhat
something in between.
Yeah, because there was a lot.
You was either disagree or
yeah. It's like there was a lot of questions that could have expanded on, like for the opinions. It was not a straight up, I agree, disagree, or strongly this, strongly that. Like no, like to a certain extent I agree, to another extent I don't.
Yeah. It was weird. Like, so I ended up on the libertarian left side.
Well, hang on. Let me tell you what I thought about that specific question.
Yeah.
The question was, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Do you strongly agree, etc., etc.? I put strongly disagree. Why?
Okay.
Because you want to consider who are the enemies of my enemy. Al-Qaeda was the enemy of our enemy. ISIS is the enemy of our enemy. The Chinese have been the enemy of our enemy. Japan at a time.
But how are they the enemy of our enemy? How?
Okay.
Oh, no, I understand.
Okay. Back in
but we funded like Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
But think
and
of
stuff.
the question, right? Is the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Back in 1989, when the Soviet Union
completely
invaded
see where you
Afghanistan, the enemy of my enemy at the time was the Soviet Union, is my friend. Al-Qaeda is my friend. Let me fund Al-Qaeda, give them weapons, fight back because they're fighting against my enemy. 10 years later, they're not your fucking friend. No. Now they're going to use it against you. World War II, we were aligned with the Chinese against the Japanese. The Japanese were our enemy. We worked together with the Chinese here and there. Here we are now in 2021. They're basically our number one threat in the world. And
people don't even understand that.
So that is a sort of ideological thinking that keeps you in perpetual warfare, keeps you like always on like a war footing with people. You're always, no, how about we make peace with our enemies? That should be the real quote, not the enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, Jon Snow said you only make peace with your enemies, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I looked at that from a straight war perspective, and I agreed. That's how I'm gonna. That's why I didn't strongly agree. I only agreed because I do understand afterwards. This, there's no more relationship, and then anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think I put disagree because I don't think it's right, but at the same time, if you're in like the immediate short term of trying to win a war, the French helped us in the American Revolution because they were the enemy of our enemy.
The only issue
there is like a tactical advantage, but overall, it's a losing strategy.
But then when 9/11 happened, France was nowhere to be seen. They were the first country to not get involved and not help us. They were
the smart ones.
Yeah.
But also now the problem though is theoretically and possibly and allegedly our own government's the enemy now.
Yeah. Well, no, we're the enemy. They're telling everybody that we're the enemy.
We're the enemy. We're the domestic terrorists.
Yeah. What is the website again? Actually, I saved it here.
It's politicalcompass.org.
Yeah, I got it here. Let's talk about our results because I thought this was like an interesting test
I don't really feel that not that I expected myself to be like right-wing libertarian or authoritarian, because I've always said I fall left on a lot of social issues, and I do look at things from an individual perspective and stuff. I didn't like all the questions. Some of them just didn't really.
It's funny because in the explanation before the test, they say don't worry about not liking the questions. It's like don't overstress yourself on it. I think they know people are not going to like the questions for some reason.
It's not that I didn't like them. Like here's one of them. Let's see. Just for each according to his ability, to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. What?
Yeah. Of all the questions, I thought that was the dumbest.
I looked that up because I was a little confused by that. I was like, what the hell does this mean? What direction we're going? That was an actual Karl Marx quote.
I figured a lot of the questions were ideological points or quotes.
Right.
People like famous, communists, capitalists, nationalists, whatever, said over the time. And then your response to them will calculate where you fall on this graph.
Right. So that I don't know what that means.
It wasn't
whatsoever.
very.
It didn't make sense to me. It sounded like an off question, and then when I looked into it, like Karl Marx is like, all right, no wonder why it didn't make sense to me because I'm not a commie fuck.
Yeah.
What did you share the other day about Karl Marx? Made me laugh.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I saw this.
Actually,
this funny.
It was the anniversary of something great that happened in history.
Oh, he died?
Yeah, he died.
I was reading. I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. It's the anniversary of something.
On March 14th, 1883, Karl Marx made his greatest contribution to all of mankind. He died.
I was reading it like genuinely interested. Like, wow, what did Karl Marx do? And then I was like, he died. I was like,
that's fantastic.
That was great. It's true though. I wish they could bring him back like another 5,000 times and just let him die over and over again.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. Then protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Are we protecting trade, or are we protecting the people who trade?
Protectionism, I guess you could say, is like what Trump was doing against China, like tariffs, etc. And I agree that is necessary sometimes.
What I did like about this quiz, though, like it had an extreme like Marx belief, but then it also had like an extreme. It had an extreme Trump thing. So it's like it wasn't like at first I was like reading some questions like, wait a minute, is this sounds like communistic bias?
But that's because
then I started reading like some extreme right wing things. I was like, all right, this is a cool test to take.
Yeah,
they're asking you that because that's how they're going to figure out where you fall on the spectrum.
Right.
If they don't ask you a communist question, how are they going to know if you're communist or not? If they don't ask you like a right-wing authoritarian question, and you don't answer it, how are they going to know? Like I said, That's why I told you to maybe do it again. And the questions you weren't familiar with Google, because if you don't know what the question means, how could you give an honest opinion?
Yeah. So I mean, I did it again without still not knowing some of them, and I still fell in the same area.
You fell, I think, almost
Yeah, in the green
area to where I did.
I'm gonna take it a second time because I'm just curious. Because I feel like now after this
Yeah,
discussion,
I mean-
like some of the questions might have a different meaning now. So like, will I have the same result?
Like, so another one, multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Does this mean like when we burn down the rainforest so we could build a factory in the Amazon? Like,
That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Or like they're, have you heard of like palm trees?
Is that like
and
an
how,
environmental question?
Yes, and like, have you heard of like how they basically cut down like tropical areas to farm like palm trees for palm oil that they use in like Nutella and shit like that.
No.
You know, like that's saying
So-
we're using like the natural resource, like the green resource, like the plants of a certain poor country, because that's where this plant is. Corporations are like fucking up that country because they need to leach this.
right.
Like,
So that's something like I never really had an opinion on. It's something that's never really crossed my mind in the political atmosphere.
Right.
I saved mine. I don't know.
But it's interesting to explore like different things that you never cared about before.
Yeah,
It
is true.
You might look at something in a different light.
Sorry. Go keep going. Oh yeah, mine's right here. Okay, so let's show me yours again. I'm gonna put yours up on the screen right now, and then we'll compare it. Maybe we'll compare mine and yours, being that we're co-hosts of this show. Let me see yours again. Just show me the picture. So, okay, so you fall. The captain falls. Dude, you fall liberal and libertarian. You fall
Because my social, the questions that they asked me about social, like being like social settings and stuff, like the one where it was like a woman could have a career, but her first goal is to be a housewife or whatever. Like, no, of course I don't agree with that.
But you fall more liberally economically than you do socially. If you see here the way this thing works, I'm gonna have this up on the screen. It says economic left and right. Economic left, your economic left and right score is -5. So you're economically you're more to the left.
I've been lying to everybody the whole time.
Social libertarian authoritarian, you're -1.95. So that means you're a little bit you're still liberal, but you're closer to authoritarian in social terms than on economic terms.
Right.
That makes no sense to me. But
like I said, I didn't really like this test. A lot of those questions were weird.
I thought you'd be the complete opposite. I thought you'd definitely fall more.
Because I look at it from an individual standpoint, and like they asked all those social questions, where of course I fall towards the left, where women's rights and there was the question of two members of the same sex, should they be discriminated from abortion? No, of course I greatly disagree with that.
From adoption.
From
right,
adoption,
yeah.
sorry. No, of course I disagree with that. I've always said I was, more pro-choice than I am pro-life. Like, so there was more like these social questions that I fell on.
I feel
the
like you
left
didn't
side.
understand the questions because you just said you feel like you were more pro-choice than pro-life, but the question had nothing to do with abortion; it had to do with adoption.
No, there was another one with the women's right to have an abortion.
Yeah, I think it was like if it doesn't do anything to like hurt, like to put her body
Yeah, if
or
her-
health in danger. Or
Yeah, if
something
she's
like
not
that.
in danger, would you still? Yeah, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
I
strongly
disagree.
disagree for that. It's like should it was basically like unless a woman. I think the question was like unless a woman is in like physical danger.
Yeah,
she should not be able to get an abortion. I put strongly disagree.
and I
Like,
put
it's not my-
disagree.
I think I put agree on that one.
Yeah, no, I could see that standpoint.
But you know what it is though. Like at the same time though, like yeah, I would like to say that I'm pro-life, but like I can't speak for the billions of other people on the
See,
planet.
you fucking get it. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so I can think this way, but like, what? Because I am pro-life, like the rest of the world cannot be pro-choice.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the way.
that's
That's
the
the
way-
way it should
That's
be.
how
Yes.
everyone should be.
That's
No,
exactly
liberals
what I
are
was
like,
gonna say.
no.
You have to
all be
believe what I
pro-choice. If
believe.
you're pro-life, you're against
Yeah.
everybody.
Right.
And you're an evil person.
I always
no.
said, like, you could be pro whatever you want, but at the end of the day, when you're at a restaurant and table number 2 has a screaming child, not once all these people who want to scream at the top of their lungs on Twitter, not once have they ever gone up to the parents and told them how they should raise their kid and how they should be acting to keep their kid calm and not disturbing the restaurant. If you're not going to do that, The sole reason you don't do that is because it's not your fucking kid. It's not your problem. Is the same reason why you shouldn't tell anyone whether you should be pro-life or pro-choice.
Right.
It's not your problem until you individually knock up a woman or one of the 86 other genders.
Problem. Right.
Yeah, until it's your problem, then you make the choice.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Me and you, we say I'm liberal and you're more conservative. No, we really both are more libertarian than anything. We're more of like, listen, don't tell me what to do, and I won't tell you what to do. And economically, we both really hate the government. You know what I mean? So that's more of like a libertarian.
I think being from
mentality.
New York has a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah,
Because there's no
you're a product of your
New York
your
is
environment.
you're either extremely left wing liberal and there's not that many like hardcore right wing conservatives like down south. So like I feel like I mean at least for my sake like my end like I'm not a liberal, but I'm definitely not a hardcore extreme right winger.
Right.
So I'm kind of like.
You see, I don't think it's true that most like even in New York, most people
like it's a
are
regional,
like liberal and the other people are. I feel like if you just talk to each other and like if you have an intelligent conversation about this topic and that topic, most people probably are libertarian, and that's one of the biggest arguments libertarians make.
Yeah.
Most people are libertarians and they don't even know it.
Yeah, there's something there for all of them.
Ronald
They're
Reagan
fed
said
propaganda
something like
garbage from the two parties, keeping them divided, keeping them in power, never letting a third party come up. Most
can see
people
that.
don't want the government involved in every aspect of their life, and they also don't really give a fuck what other people are doing. They don't want to impede other people. They don't want to they want gay people to get married. They want people to be able to own guns. They want people to be able to smoke weed. They don't want to tell you can't do this or you can't do that. They don't want other people to also tell them what to do.
I always said this, like, I don't have a problem with gay marriage. They pay taxes, for crying out loud. Like,
They pay like everyone else.
Yeah, you know what? If every time there was a gay marriage in the state of New York and my taxes went up, I'd have a problem with it. I'd have a huge problem with it. But it doesn't, and that's the reality of it. So please, go ahead and do it. And then for the libertarian standpoint, get out of my business. I buy a car, I get taxed on it. I sell the car, you get taxed. They sell the car, it gets how many times are we going to tax the same vehicle?
The libertarian point of view in that scenario would be like the gay people could get married and they don't have to pay any tax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would be the libertarian point of view.
Right.
There was
meanwhile, remember how what was his name? John Brennan or whoever the fuck said that libertarians were domestic terrorists?
Part of the domestic terrorist group.
Come on.
Yeah. Because they're not part of the agenda. Yeah. They won't be part of the agenda.
They're not part of the actual racist, divisive, establishment here.
Yeah.
So yours, where did your graph come up?
Mine, yours was like centrist.
I never even got to talk about. Wait, hang on. Let me put mine
you go
first. I never even got
I'll...
to talk about mine. I'll put mine up on the screen now. I came up as negative 3.88 to the left economically. So I lean to the left economically, but a little bit more to the right than you do. Socially, I'm way down. I'm not negative 6.36. So socially, I'm way more liberal than yours was. Yours was like 2.
Yeah.
I'm like almost negative 7. So I'm a little bit more economically conservative, apparently, according to the graph, than you are. I'm way more socially liberal than you are, according to the graph. However, we both are the same thing. It's just like to a degree of magnitude. We're both in the same box, which is the green libertarian, libertarian, just to like a degree of magnitude difference. And interesting fact, they show you on this thing famous people and where they show up.
Oh yeah, where Hitler
we
pops
fall
up.
in the same box as Mohandas Gandhi.
Aha.
Yes.
There we go.
The complete opposite box of us is Hitler, Margaret Thatcher, and the box above us is Joseph Stalin. So we're pretty much with the only good guy on this graph here.
So where'd you fall?
Honestly, like Skag said, I'm probably the closest to centrist that you could probably get.
Yeah, what was your score? Above the graph, it gives you a score.
It said economic left/right 1.38, which I don't know. I don't know what the hell that meant really, but numbers threw me off.
Let me see. Sorry, I really understand this graph, so I could economic. So
he doesn't agree with Gandhi.
No, you're with Milton Friedman, but I
don't even know Milton
economic
Friedman
theorist.
I'm gonna look him up.
You are to the right. Yeah, you're 1.38 to the right. We were in the negatives on economics.
So I'm a
economically,
right-wing
you're
libertarian.
conservative. Yes, you're a right-wing libertarian. So economically, you're conservative, but socially, you're liberal. You're very close to the center, though. You're only, what was your social score?
Social was 2.15.
Right, so still close to center. Mine's like 7. Yours was around
I don't
2
even
also.
know.
So socially, apparently, according to this graph, you guys are very similar. He's more liberal economically. You're more conservative. But there's not much. What's great about this is if this is 100% accurate, which who knows if it really is, it gives you like a visual representation of how your ideology is. And if you were to take all 3 of these dots and put them on the same graph, and one says Chris, one says Mike, one says Ant, you'll see like we're not very far away from each other.
None of us popped up in the Hitler area.
Right, and I guarantee you, if you took like every American,
some like woke person.
No. I'm saying I guarantee if you took almost every American and made them do this, majority would probably fall in that green box in the bottom left corner, and the people who are like the woke, the Antifa, they're gonna fall way towards the top, way towards the left. They're gonna fall around where Stalin is, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have like your KKK guy is gonna fall top right where Hitler is.
What I think is cool about this, though, whether you're a libertarian to the left or libertarian to the right, we're still libertarian. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. You do whatever the fuck you want. Don't tell me what the fuck I can or can't do.
We're proprietors of freedom.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, at one point, I thought I was a constitutionalist. I, like, looked up the Constitutional Party. I was like, you know what? I'm definitely not a Democrat. I was like, you know what? Fuck the Republicans, too. Let me see what Constitutional Party is, because I would like to believe, like, to go by the letter of the law. And then they were like, nope. If you're, things they were against was like porn. I was like, oh, I cannot watch porn. Well, fuck you. I am definitely not a constitutionalist. Then I saw libertarian, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can still watch porn. I'm a libertarian.
Libertarians make sense to a point until like
until
like sooner or later you're like, I own this road. Pay a troll toll.
Every ideology has a radical aspect to it.
Yeah.
The thing, I guess you could say the good thing about radical libertarians is they're not going to imprison a race and commit genocide. They're going to make you pay for using the road.
Yeah.
Because I built the road. You could use the road. The road's open for everybody, but because I built it, you have to pay me. The government doesn't build the roads or anything. No. Just private people. Basically like a libertarian utopia. There is no government. Everybody just gets along.
You pay a token.
Everybody just gets along by like, don't bother me. I don't bother you. I build this. You want to use it. You give me some money. I want to use this thing you built. I give you some money. I don't think that could work in real life.
No, it would.
The same way communism doesn't work in real life.
It would work, but it hasn't been put in place because they know it would work. Because they
would
not be able to control us.
But
there would be no control over us. Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec was known for being libertarian, and like something he always said, like always stuck with me. He's like, "You want me to explain business?" He's like, "I have an apple. You're hungry. Give me money. Here's an apple. I have an apple business." That's as simple as it should be.
Right.
And that's honestly, I agree with that aspect of it. But once you do this broader aspect of, I have a road, you need to pay to drive down this road now, that's when it starts to get, a little crazy and a little extreme. Because it would almost, I think the downfall of the extreme side of it, and I'm not super educated on libertarianism, is that it would set us back centuries almost. I don't know about centuries, but it would set us back years where I feel like there's not a huge amount of growth to be had.
I agree.
When you have to pay for every road you need. You might not be getting taxed and you might be making a lot more money and all that stuff, and the government's not messing with you, but like
society, like technology society won't progress.
Right, because you're like, your road is too expensive. Your road is all right. I'm just going to
where the fuck do these roads go?
Yeah.
Like, if there's no.
So then now I have to pay you to use your road. Then you have to pay to come to my store, but my store is on your road. So where do we go from here?
Right. Yeah. Who determines like where the roads are going to link up and how they, where the off.
What happens at a crossroads?
There needs to be some central planning.
Yeah.
It works, right? Libertarianism would work if we were just like farmers and we were bartering fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, libertarians works when
seems like an ancient Greece type of thing.
End of the world.
Islands,
End of the world. Walking Dead. Like, I have a bunch of hides. You have chickens.
Yes.
I need eggs. You need to stay warm.
Yeah,
like
I feel
then
like
it
that,
works.
Let's
that
hope
radical libertarian ideology would work in that scenario.
Yeah.
But that radical, how do we put a man on the moon when we have to barter? You know, who's going to build this screw and who's
Yeah.
going to build that screw, and then who's, you know what I mean? Like, you'll never, once things get really sophisticated, you need some sort of central planning. The thing is, too much central planning, then you have communism, and they tell you what to build, and that doesn't work because you can't just invent market forces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then it has to be, I've always said, there needs to be, like, in my opinion, like, the most perfect, like, economic, societal model, obviously, is democracy, so everybody can be heard. But economically, like, you have to have like a mixture of capitalism and a mixture of socialism, right? Because like capitalism drives people to want to do better, to make money, etc. And then socialism makes sure that we are a little bit more human, and people who get like left behind don't get left behind. Like, there's a safety net for everybody. It gives them a chance to like not be trampled on by the system.
I mean, the real issue with like the socialist or the social policies we have is the abuse of the system.
Yes,
you know what I mean? You know, you want to talk about an abuse of the system. We were talking about immigration before, and the GOP brought a bill today to Congress saying that any illegal immigrants that are captured, they weren't changing any of Biden's new, you know, God-given laws that are not creating a crisis. That all immigrants need to be tested, and if they will continue with catch and release, where you get released into America as long as you test negative for COVID. The Democrats voted against this
Is that
bill.
true? I tried. I remember you said
I've
that to
seen
me
it
before.
several
Did
times.
you fact check yourself? Because I tried looking it up and I couldn't find anything about it.
I've seen it several times. I don't have the bill or anything, but if that's the case, this is the abuse of the system.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't serve at 100% capacity, but so and so could break the law and come here. So let's see if this is going to get blown up right now or not.
What I actually was going to ask was, are they social distancing at all these
yeah.
places? You know, because if that's the case, you know,
They're not even social distancing at the containment centers. One containment center is at like 700% capacity.
Okay.
So can the kids go back to school then?
No.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy in those sorts of things. You know, like it's safe to cram a whole bunch of migrant children into a small, tiny facility. You know, it's a happy-go-lucky place now. It's not a concentration camp anymore. But you can't have American children go back to school because it's too dangerous.
Yep.
You know, that makes no
And then
sense
the teachers
whatsoever.
union told the teachers with spring break coming,
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure you don't take any pictures of your vacation,
It might look
because
bad.
it's going to be really hard to say we can't go back to school while you're partying in Cancun.
Yeah. There's something going on there suspicious. Like, I'm usually I'm pro-union person, but it seems like, I don't know. It seems like the teachers don't want to go back. And I don't think they mean it in a nefarious way. I believe like the teachers are deathly afraid of COVID. They've been sold.
Maybe
They've been sold.
Maybe they're
100.
comfortable. You
Yeah.
know, I think
I don't-
people just got too comfortable.
Are they, though? You know how difficult it is
I
to
know a
teach
lot
kids
of
on-
teachers. I know a lot of teachers. I have still yet to meet one of these teachers. Every teacher I've known so far is a little hesitant, and this is only my personal individual experience, but the majority of teachers that I've spoken to have been like, this is just nonsense, and they'd rather just go back to the way things were.
I'd like to speak to an actual teacher, Nick from the PS Reporter. Maybe
I'm
at some
pretty
point
sure I
in the
know
future,
him.
It'd be nice to talk to him about critical race theory and to
Be an interesting episode. We'll get him on.
And I'm just saying, and what his view on, like, going to school, not going to school, what he thinks about that. All right, so here we go. I fact checked Captain, and he was actually right. We'll take it with a grain of salt though, because this is Fox News, and I couldn't really find any other article. But Fox News, for the most part, they're not just making. I mean, they do make shit up, but they're not going to make up a political vote in whatever. So. The headline is, Democrats block GOP reps bill requiring negative COVID tests for illegal immigrants. House Democrats on Tuesday blocked proposed legislation from freshman Rep. Marionette Miller Meeks, that's a Republican from Iowa, that would have required illegal immigrants released into the U.S. to receive a negative COVID test. So let's be clear. A Republican proposes a bill that would require any illegal immigrant obviously that goes through the system. Before they're released, they have to have a negative COVID test. Democrats, the champions of COVID tests, of lockdowns, of restrictions, of you can't go here, you can't go there, are saying, no, they don't need it.
They're the
They
only.
can come on in.
They're the only people in America right now that don't need it.
Yeah, but dude, that doesn't make any sense. If you're
Don't question it. Don't question
that's
it.
You're right.
Don't question
Grandpa
it.
Joe's gonna come with fake mics and fucking arrest me.
I'm gonna question it though.
Don't question it.
I'm sure
Go ahead.
you
That's
guys
why
are
you're
gonna
here.
do the same thing.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That you see, but
Scary.
It's
Scary.
things like that make me skeptical of anything any of them say. If the Democrats were always 100% consistent with their arguments from
Make it make sense.
on for COVID, I would be more willing to believe them, but they're not. But now we got to wear 2 masks. Where before, but Fauci lied about how mask effectiveness. Now you have something where someone's proposing something Democrats usually do, but because it's somebody that they're on the side of, they don't want to do it. Like it seems like everything, and the Republicans do the same thing. Every single thing they take and they play politics with it. The Republicans do it with other stupid shit. The Democrats are doing it with the COVID stuff.
But don't they at least stay true to their political stances throughout, or at least
Who?
the Republicans,
No.
or at least
No.
more?
Not always.
No.
McConnell's flip flop.
no way.
You know who?
He's a piece of shit.
You know who honestly has really stuck to their guns? AOC. Really, as dumb as she
I
is,
agree.
like as much as I don't like her, I don't care. But I've always will give her credit. She gets pissed off at the same thing
Thanks.
every
Right.
time.
Like
Good.
with sexual harassment.
Yes.
She's calling out Cuomo, and I told you, I'm like, look, I was the one who told you this the other day. I was like, look, say what you want about AOC. You don't like her, you don't agree with her, you don't say. She's consistent, and
Yeah.
I could hate what she's
Agreed with you.
consistent about, which
Totally.
I don't like what she's consistent about, but she at least is consistent. You
Yeah.
can say the same thing for Rand Paul. Very consistent, everything he does. I want to go back to real quick what you were just saying, how Republicans, you feel like they believe more, or they more consistent with what they believe. No, they're not at all, because Republicans are supposed to be conservative and the party of low spending and less government. But put a Republican in office and the military spending is through the roof. The budget got larger, like they spent more money under Trump than they did under Obama. They, but then they all of them voted against the COVID-19 bill because they're concerned about spending limits.
Yeah,
now they're concerned about spending limits, right? On a COVID-19, this is the argument of the Democrats, which even their argument is flawed against the Republicans. But Republicans are only consistent when it's politically convenient for them. And what does that mean? Only when it's convenient for the people who are funding their campaigns, the military-industrial complex, etc., whoever, etc.
You posted the best meme ever. It was the American Eagle, and one wing was blue and one wing was red, and the caption underneath it said, "What if I told you both political wings were on the same fucking bird?" It's the most true statement I've seen in a while. It's the same bird. It's the same entity. You know what I mean? It's the identity politics of it all. I think, though, where you're coming from, we're saying, like, the Republicans might be more consistent, is in the sense that you don't see as much, obviously, with the military, if Biden, in 2024, Kamala doesn't get reelected and we have a Republican, military spending is going to go up. But I think what you're kind of looking at is more like on a day-to-day basis, where like the Republicans aren't moving the goalpost as much as
No, that's true.
as like a Democrat would
culture
be.
war.
Yeah, in the culture war, I could see how you would think Republicans are more, consistent in what they want than the Democrats, because they're only going to want it when they want it.
Yeah.
Which brings me to Mitch McConnell, complete a-hole. Don't really care for him anymore. But what he went after Schumer this week, because they're trying to end the filibuster.
I hate Schumer.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? I don't know who votes for him, but he was like, listen.
Dead people.
Yeah, he was like, listen to me. He's like, the idea of getting rid of the filibuster is great, but eventually one day Republicans will be back in the saddle of the House and the Senate. And if you get rid of the filibuster while we're the minority, when we become the majority, you will rue the day
because
you voted on this. He's like, we will destroy your culture within days.
Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen in regards to that, because of how incompetent and just like the Democrats can never do anything right. They're going to probably spend the next 2 years fighting amongst themselves on whether or not to get rid of the filibuster, and they'll probably do it right before midterm elections. And then they'll lose the midterm elections. The balance of power will tip back to the Republicans, who now have no filibuster, thanks to the Democrats taking 2 years of fighting over it and not getting anything done besides fighting over it. And here's what's going to happen. The Democrats are going to blame the Republicans for it.
Of course.
Right? And so on and so on. And they never get anything done. Well, I mean, if there's no filibuster, the Republicans will get something done. But just like, they're just playing games. And they're playing games amongst themselves. Like we said with the stimulus thing, they promised $2,000 and we only got the $1,400, which we just got today actually.
Yeah, I got that too. That's going towards my OnlyFans.
There we go, baby. I said it was no mistake that it came out on St. Patrick's Day. Go waste it at the bar. Yeah. What's the quickest way we could get this money back into circulation?
That's what I did. I had a nice corned beef and cabbage this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Ortiz could link up and do an OnlyFans membership. Our buddy James.
I actually sent someone to Ortiz, and I was like, I need a full report on this woman by the end of the day.
Yeah, man. So what was I saying? It's just political theater.
Hypocrisy.
And it's hypocrisy.
Totally. With
the $2,000 stimulus thing, the COVID-19 bill passed without a single GOP person voting for it, but it still passed. Meaning the Democrats passed it on their own without any help from the Republicans. Meaning
unity.
In theory, the Democrats could have had anything they wanted in it, right? They could have,
they could have put in Medicare for all.
Yes, but that don't happen because they don't want that. That's only something. That's something that kind of.
I've started to notice that Joe Biden, who is quote unquote going to be the most moderate president ever, is super moderate once something like that comes up.
Yeah.
No.
He's only
he'll get as progressive as fuck with immigration and shit like that, but here's
a good thought experiment. Where is Joe Biden going to fall on this scale? Right? I'm going to tell you right now.
Watch him be a right-wing
authoritarian
all along, and he just had us all fooled.
He is, in my opinion, right?
I can't see him anywhere near the libertarian side.
No,
I don't see him on the map.
He's hard to pin.
He's
right?
in the unicorn
he's
land.
Hard. I thought I had it for sure, but he's hard to pin now that I'm looking.
Left-wing authoritarian.
Left-wing, realistically.
But that would mean that his social score would be high, which means you know what I mean? Like he would be conservative socially, which he's not. He's super.
No, the red box.
Right, but in order to get up here, your social score has to be high. Your social score has to be going toward.
Okay, but look at him socially when it comes to, abortion past birth. Look at him with welfare. Look at him with immigration. You know what I mean? I think he would still pop up in that red box.
I don't think he falls anywhere because he's
not a real person.
He's from another planet.
When it comes to LGBTQ, etc., he presents himself as the woke, the god of wokeness. But then when it comes to something else, which is also liberal, like Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, can't be done, can't be done. So actually, you know what? He might fall all the way to the right here. But all the way down here, he might be in the bottom right corner as hardcore libertarian libertarian socially, but hardcore right wing economically, because that's basically everything he does. All the progressives, all the Bernie people who bought into the Biden thing, they're not getting a single fucking thing.
I'm glad
they didn't get the minimum wage. They're not getting Medicare for all. They're not getting the $2,000 checks. They're not getting anything.
I'm glad they all bought into it.
Yeah. And I'm in the Twitter sphere, and I follow a bunch of socialist people, and they get it. I just wish that
they got it sooner.
No, they get it. The thing is, the wokey socialists in Government don't get it yet. Like Bernie's still trying to fight for Biden.
Yeah, but he has his own agenda. He's in the position to have his agenda to push. Everyday people are starting to recognize it.
Yeah.
He's not going to change his views because his views got him to where he is.
I just wish I heard Dave Smith saying this on his podcast the other day. He's like, 10 years ago, do you guys remember there was Occupy Wall Street?
Yep.
And at the same time, there was the Tea Party. So you have like Occupy Wall Street was like on the left. And you had at the same time, the Tea Party was on the right. And Occupy Wall Street was liberal, and they were saying how like these corporations are too powerful and they're ripping off everybody. And they're like
bailing out the banks.
And then you had the Tea Party here on the right. They're saying the government is, evil, and they're spending too much money, and they're ruining everything in, in society. In reality, these two sides were aligned, but they didn't realize it, right? Government and the corporations are working together to fuck both of them.
Yep.
But they're too busy being fed propaganda, etc., thinking they're on the opposite side. They didn't realize it, right? Dave Smith was trying to make the point that this was right around the time when the woke ideology shit was introduced. And who's pushing the woke ideology shit the most? The corporations, right? Because they said, wait a minute, we got to make sure that people are distracted and they don't... And these two sides who have it right don't realize... that they have it right and they're on the same side. We need to make sure that we push them further away.
Coca-Cola put out the Be Less White memo in their company, but yet the CEO is white, yet most of the board members are white. And if they want to be less white,
give up their positions. Yeah, they should resign immediately and allow a person of color to take it up. That was from Dave Smith, part of the Problem Podcast. Check him out. Smart guy.
So, good spot to end, or?
I think so.
Yeah?
You want to talk about anything else?
Final words, Ant?
See, where are we at?
We didn't even really get into the conspiracies, but we kind of saved you for that.
We're an hour and a half in. You want to get into conspiracies? I have nowhere to go, nothing to do.
I am starving, but
I was going to say, actually, just a couple of
conspiracies.
Well, I had a couple of questions, and then we could end on the conspiracies.
Yeah, if you want to ask us anything.
What I wanted to say was about back to the AOC thing. Right. First of all, I can't stand anything that she's about, but what I do like about her is that she is not with the Democratic Party 100%. At least she goes against. She at least goes against the superiors. I don't think I agree with even one thing that she says, but the fact that she still has fight in her. Like she won't comply to what they're saying. I respect that. And you know what? Maybe she, how you're saying, like most people are libertarians. It's possible she's probably a left-wing libertarian.
No.
I don't know. Maybe
I've come to learn with her, it's a lot more ego-driven than it is. She presents it as she's trying to do the right thing for everybody all the time, but everything she does is. She's Trump, but ideologically opposite. Very egotistically driven. Everything's always about me, and any chance she could get to make herself look better, she takes it.
Yeah.
Like with Ted Cruz and all that stuff.
She, for as young as she is, understands exactly how to play politics.
Yeah.
In the game of politics, most people kind of wait till it's their turn. When she sees that she could fucking hit somebody with a haymaker and that in the future she's going to get a better position, you better believe she's going to take the shot.
I admire it. She's good. She's good at the political warfare thing that we just recently learned about. Yeah.
Okay.
What else you got?
Oh, yeah. Occupy Wall Street and Tea Party, they were around the same time.
They were at the exact same time. It was just like
propaganda's been around for years.
Isn't that more proof how the media and the elites they just divide us all the time?
Yeah.
The Tea Party people on one side, they said fuck the Occupy Wall Street guys. Occupy Wall Street guys are like, oh fuck the Tea Party. It's the same thing that happens all the time.
They were both right because they were focused on class.
Yeah.
On class issues, right? The Republicans, the Tea Party were focused on the government is fucking up everything that makes differences in class, and so were the Occupy Wall Street people saying it was the corporations. It was both, and they were working together to do it, and you didn't realize it, and then because people didn't realize it, both worked together again in order to introduce a new ideology, which is wokeism, and make sure that now everything's racist. Everything is racist now. Everything needs to be changed. Throw Abraham Lincoln statue in the fucking river. Everything.
Then the river becomes racist, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the propaganda has been around for so long. The division has been there, and it's not stopping because I already see it with the Biden administration. He gets up there and he says, "You need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated." And there's eventually going to be a crossroads where the vaccinated, they're not going to portray it this way, but the vaccinated people are going to start going after the not vaccinated people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just going to be, now we don't need to divide you over race. We could divide you over who's been vaccinated.
Yeah,
who's not.
a vaccine passport, which you see people, you see people virtue signaling. I see plenty of them.
And you know what the funny thing
people
is?
get their vaccine and then they take a picture, they post it on their social media, and it says, their name, the COVID vaccine, etc. They're virtue signaling. Now they have that thing.
A virtue signaling badge. Yeah. And the funny thing is that I've been seeing it pop up a lot now. After today, actually, is I guess Trump spoke on Fox last night through a call or whatever, but he's in support of people taking the vaccine. So I wonder if he starts screaming loud enough that everyone should take the vaccine.
They won't want to take it no more.
If all of a sudden, if Fauci's like, we should probably stop getting vaccinated right now. Like
I said it. I think I said this in the last episode that during the campaign, Harris and Biden were sowing like mistrust over the vaccine. Where Harris herself, Kamala Harris, said, "Well, if Trump tells me to take the vaccine, I'm not going to take it. But if a doctor tells me to take it, then I'll take it." Whoa, what are you talking about? Like it's not Trump was not in the lab creating the vaccine. It was the doctors.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like but now if you said the same thing in reverse, we got to throw, they're going to throw you in jail.
Yep.
What I think is everyone says that they created the vaccine, to cure COVID. I believe they created COVID so we can all take the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
And I am not, and I'm just going to say this right now. I don't care. I don't care if the government makes a rule that, if you don't take the vaccine, you're dying. Well, you know what? Let me die then. I am not taking your fucking vaccine. Stick it up your ass.
Fair enough.
Right. They can't.
I will never, under any circumstances, take it.
You see, the thing is, they can't. I don't think there's any real rules that the government has at all in America to force you to take vaccines.
Not yet.
No, I don't think the government's going to make the rules.
Let me explain, and I'm going to tie this all back into everything we were just saying. The government can't make a rule saying you have to take this vaccine. But the economy can lock you out of the economy if you don't have the vaccine, which is what we already do. Like, if you go to college, you have to show them your vaccine passport and show them you had to have gotten so many vaccines. Mm-hmm. They could make, we've said before, like MetLife Stadium can make a rule. Well, you have to show your vaccine passport when you come in, or you can't come into the games because this is like a large area. Here's the thing. Like we said before, the Tea Party people were saying the government's a problem, and the Occupy Wall Street people were saying, no, it's the corporations are the problem. They're working together. The government knows they can't make the rules for people to take vaccines, so they're relying on their best buddies, the corporations, to lock everybody out of the economy and society. So the government don't need to look like the bad guy.
And sooner than later,
they don't need to look like the bad. It's Chase's fault.
You want to work here? Well, you're going to need to get vaccinated. Okay, so you're fired because you don't want to be vaccinated. So you go on interview after interview. Well, if we hire you, part of the hiring process is to get vaccinated. Oh, you don't want to get vaccinated, we can't hire you. And now you can't make any money. You want to collect unemployment. You want to collect unemployment. Well, we got to see that you're vaccinated so you can collect unemployment. Oh, you want to go to the movies. Oh, you want to go to this restaurant. You want to go eat at McDonald's.
You see what I mean?
You need to show your passport.
It's a dictatorship, though.
Yes. Oh,
but they don't look like a dictatorship, though, because they could pin the blame on, it's corporations, and this is a free market, and they have the freedom to do whatever they want, and they're the ones requiring. Joe Biden, I'm not requiring anybody to take it. I nicely asked you to do it. I didn't require you to do it. Like Joe Biden doesn't have. I'm sorry, but like Joe Biden doesn't have a meeting with the CEOs of all these companies. And
all the people that funded his campaign?
Maybe not even Joe Biden because he's just a puppet, but the powers that be. You mean tell me that they're not working together with the heads of corporations on how can we structure society to work the way that we want? That's a conspiracy for you right there.
Yeah, dude. It's they're gonna completely lock you out. Mm-hmm. Just you want to take money from the bank. Well, you need a vaccine to get into the bank.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the funny thing though is like we spoke about this when we were talking about the what was the civil bill or whatever for the transgendered and all that. What was the name of it?
The new bill that just passed recently. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, the one that kind of gave protections to it. It included sex in the civil rights.
Right.
bill.
So
forgot what it was called.
they, so a part of it was, if you're a baker, you can't not make a cake for a gay couple. But, here we are. Oh, this is a free market and it's a private company. You have to get vaccinated. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so my point back when you told me about the bakery thing was
I'm sure you heard that.
Oh, that
before.
was like from years ago.
Yes, but this bill that was recently passed is called the Equality Act. Kind of settles the argument for that.
Right.
Saying that no, the in long story short, the Equality Act basically says no, you have to make the cake.
Right.
Regardless.
But if you don't like Twitter's terms and agreements, you go find somewhere else. We're a private company. We can do what you want. Right. You're a private bakery, but if you don't like what we want you to bake, you still got to bake it. Same thing with the vaccine. We're a private company. Right. We could force you to take it so you could get involved.
Everything is along partisan lines. And whatever's politically convenient. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
No. What I always
supposed to.
What I always felt about that story was this. I just believe like we should all do whatever the fuck we want to do. I feel like
that's the libertarian in you.
The guy was a businessman, and you know what? Everything's got to become like a freaking like homophobic or racist or whatever. Like this guy had a private business.
It's the great divider.
He had his beliefs. You know what? The way I look at it is, the guy just lost his sale. He lost a potential customer, future customer, whatever. That was his business decision. Look at it as a business decision. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be easier to do it that way.
I don't think.
But you know what? Somebody went to somebody else. They'd be like, you know what? I don't care. Like,
no, that's the problem. People care. Well, no, they don't care. They want to appear that they care.
I think they should have to make the cake because you can't. If you're like the libertarian ideal is, I can't do anything. You can't do anything to me that would affect me, but I can't do anything to you that affects you either. I need a cake, right? I need a cake. I'm getting married. I'm gay.
I understand.
You're a businessman. You make cakes. I'm coming to you because I need a cake. You have to sell me the cake. You know what I mean?
I understand.
I understand where
if you have I'm not telling the gay person or me from the outside is not telling that baker not to believe, that gay marriage is immoral. You can believe that, but you got to bake them the fucking cake because you can't do something to someone else impeding them or like preventing them from. You know what I mean? Like participating in
then
society.
Trump should get his Twitter back.
You could believe whatever you want. If you want to believe that the Q lizard fucking people and Trump's time traveling, to fix everything, go ahead. You could believe that. But you can't tell me that you're going to pass a law telling me that I have to believe that or I have to, set my clocks to a certain time because when Trump comes back from the contract. You know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying. I feel like, listen, I would bake the cake because the way I look at it is
it's a business. Well, you run a small business.
At the same time, though, you know what? Like, if you want to be a dumb business person and make the dumb decision,
there's that aspect of it too.
I look at it from the I look at it from a business point of view, probably
because you're a normal human being.
And, but like, whatever. But it's never. It'll never be looked at
that situation is just like a good example of like business and religion and beliefs and freedom all intersect and like what's the right answer? Is there even a right answer? I'm not sure. We're just giving our opinions of what we think the right answer is.
I think the fear is people feel like there's that slippery slope that once you allow one business to say no, like they'll go back to the Jim Crow days, like restaurants for white people, restaurants. Like,
well, that's what Columbia University's doing.
That's what they're doing, bro. That's what they're doing. That's what I'm saying.
You see how it works, though.
Wokeism is undercover racism.
They're so afraid of racism that they're going to racially segregate the class, so there's no racism.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and we need to entrust, the alphabet soup agencies also with the powers to persecute all these people. So they're the most trustworthy. I had this conversation with a friend today, about the whole wokeism and the domestic terrorism thing, and I'm like, I don't believe in like the boogeyman anymore of anything. I'm like, whether it's ISIS or Al Qaeda or white nationalists, I'm like, I don't believe in any boogeyman anymore because it's all BS. So like, I'm not. You mean to tell me now like you're gonna, after years of us being sold shit about Al Qaeda and the war on terror and the war on drugs by the three-letter agencies. Now I got to trust the three-letter agencies on domestic terrorism.
Yeah. War at my front door.
Yeah. Oh, good luck. Yeah. Please.
All right.
Yeah. Hungry?
We're good, boys?
Yeah.
I think so.
Plug next episode.
Yeah. All right. So Doom Nation, thank you for listening as always. Anthony, my man, thank you for coming on. Good seeing you. We need to hang out more other than just this
100%.
crap. We need to go out and have a few drinks soon.
Definitely with it.
All right, Doom Nation, thank you. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You can catch us on YouTube at Two Doom Men. Our Instagram, you should know by now, is at 2DoomMen_podcast. We will be working more with 990 WBOB as time goes on, so make sure you guys check them out. They're very cool.
Check out their website. It's www.990wbob.com. They're going to also post like stuff about our episodes and whatnot.
You'll start finding some of our stuff on their website.
They also have a lot of good content, also their political shows, etc.
Yep, and we still have the raffle going on. $55 an entry for a PS5. If you follow us on Instagram and YouTube, you get $5 knocked off. You'll make your money back in a gift card to Pete's Saloon, and you have a 1 in 30 minimum shot of getting a brand new PS5 for a $50 bill. So go ahead and make sure you join us. We have a Venmo and a PayPal.
Yeah,
right?
That's how you would send the money.
Yep. So thank you. Next week we will be off topic. Finally, we are going to stop talking about politics, and we are going to do the sequel of our Popcast. We'll be having our friends Mark and Mikey on Jamie with their extensive, growing pop collection, and it's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun. Should be a good one. We
be good.
We need a break.
Yes.
There's only so much you can talk about politics without wanting to rip your hair out, and that's how That's how you end up looking like Joe Biden when you talk about politics all day long.
I'm at that point, like right now, just listening to the hypocrisy of what we talked about today. It's unbelievable.
All right.
Doom Nation, thank you. Everybody say goodbye.
Later.